you to stand with us this morning and sing a song called Breathe. That sounded great, though. I like that.
Nice.
We have a great band. Yay, you guys are awesome. You are the air I breathe. You are the air I breathe. Your holy presence living in me. And I'm grateful for you. And I'm grateful for you. Let's sing that again. You are the air I breathe. You are the air I breathe. Your holy presence living in me. And I'm grateful for you. And I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for you. And now we'd like to welcome Reverend Jack to the stage.
Standing, turn to the person next to you and say, "Good morning. My name is such. What's your name?" This is a unity community. Yeah. Take somebody to lunch. All right. Good morning. Hey. So as you're preparing, as you're sitting down, please turn the volume off on your cell phone. You can still use your cell phone, leave it on. If you want to text someone, let them know where you are, that you're at Unity of Boulder, or whatever, or you want to text a tithe to Unity, all wonderful. But please just take the volume off on your cell phones. We're going to spend a beautiful hour here in the space of human experience. Hey, I want to say thank you to all the people tuning in on live stream. Appreciate having your energy here with us in Boulder, Colorado. And we welcome all of our Spanish-speaking friends who are sharing this service with us. Is there anybody here from another Unity? Okay, anybody here for the first time? Hey, raise your hands high. We have a gift for you. There's like 4 people over there. Keep your hand up. You're going to really appreciate this gift. Okay, a new Lexus. Just give them the keys. All right, I usually tell a joke at this point, but now I'm telling a joke that was given to me by one of the band members. I'm not going to point him out. I'm just going to let you know this joke came from one of the band members. This bear walks into a bar. The bartender says, "What do you have?" Then the bartender says, "Why the long pause?"
Oh, all right. After that. So we're going to invite Spirit into the room, and we ask you guys, if you would like to stand with us, we would love for you to do that and sing along here. Nice little intro.
Let's just come in the presence of this room and close our eyes and take that beautiful music into our spirits and recognize this next hour is a time to connect with our heart and leave the ways of the world outside these doors and remember our true nature, our loving spirits that can be totally and completely fully expressed in every area of our lives. When we choose to love ourselves, and in that case, choosing to love God through us. We give thanks for this time to remember the truth of our beings so that we may open up to the majesty of this life and the beauty that unfolds when we live from the heart. Amen. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity this morning. So my talk today is called Be True to You, and it was written from a little accident that I had this week, and I hurt my foot, so I won't be all over the stage like I usually am. I'll be limited to the podium just a tad, but I'm fine. But it was a little wake up to check in on where I am and what I'm doing in all this busyness and realizing, nothing is ever an act of just by accident. I do believe that everything is something to move us inward and check in on why would this happen right now when my life is so completely busy and I'm needed in three places at a time all the time lately, and all of a sudden I'm dancing in the dance class. I'm just really going for it. And I had these really great, neat, long pants on. I was really feeling it, and my toe got stuck in the pants, and I went to move, and there was just no leg. And I landed on the top of my toes, and so they're all a little bit unhappy as we speak. And thank you for covering for my class. Cheryl, she had to cover that night because I couldn't even walk on it. I wasn't sure what I did, but I'm walking on it, so I don't think it's broken. Most people would go to the doctor for that. I don't. I want to make sure I'd have to, and if I'm walking, I know it's just sprained or something like that. Anyway, so I don't know how many of you went to the marches this last Friday to fight for the planet and stand up and say that we really want to see a difference in our leadership and to awaken the poor in spirit that are not recognizing that there really is a climate crisis. And it was completely created by a young woman named Greta Thunberg. I have a picture of her right here. This young woman is 17 years old, and she is just a special being that has found her divine purpose very early in her life. And I'm going to be talking about our divine purpose today. She clearly has found herself fully expressed and free this lifetime, and clearly just was given what she's supposed to do and be. And boy, has everybody been listening to her and stepping forward and stepping out because of this brave young woman. But I was reading a article on Facebook about her, and there was some judgments towards her mother. Wait, I guess there's not. Okay. Towards her parents, that she doesn't have the happiest face, that this little girl is looking very burdened by the world. And the little girl, Greta, came forward to share this, and I thought this was very interesting, that she was defending her parents and said that she has Asperger's. And she said that I'm on the autism spectrum, so I don't really care about social codes the way that other people do. And in some cases, she said her neurodiversity gives her an advantage. It makes you different and makes you think differently, she said, especially in a big crisis like this one. We need to think outside the box. We need to think outside our current system. We need people who think outside the box and who aren't like everyone else. And she called her Asperger's, she said, it is my superpower. I want to sit with that reality, because some people would call it a handicap, and it's how we want to look at things in our life. Clearly, she had parents that were like, This is not going to stand in your way. We're going to fuel you, and you are going to be the most powerful version of yourself from day one. And clearly, I'm sure her parents are extremely educated on the environment. There's no way she just woke up and had all this information out the gate, but what a beautiful face for us to watch us get that fire lifted within ourselves, to see the power when we recognize something that is our purpose. When we realize what it is we are here to do and be. We know when we're not living in that life because we don't feel inspired. We don't wake up out of bed and want to go, conquer our day and discover the magic of each day because we're still living in some sort of limited belief about ourselves. So what if we could look at our limitations or the things we say are not necessarily our strong points and start to see them as our superpowers? Because the truth is the blocks and the things that are difficult in our life are actually God's teachers for us. The difficult job, the difficult marriage, the difficult this, it's a time to come into what is reflecting about what we're holding about ourselves. And until we start to realize that we're holding these handicaps in ourselves, and so therefore we're going out in the world feeling handicapped, we're discovering more and more opportunities to be shown that we are handicapped, because the law of attraction, like meets like in that law of attraction. So when we go out feeling like we are handicapped, or we are being, we are limited, or we are a victim in a situation, then we're matched with more information that validates that we're right. Right, so we have a lot of power to change that idea of having this limited idea into starting to see it through a new lens, that I have a superpower. I can change how I think about this limitation. I can start to see it differently. I can start to say it differently. I can start to feel it differently and meet the world differently with it. But that takes a lot of awareness. That takes a heightened consciousness. That takes a meditated up spirit to meet life. In my life, I didn't find my purpose right out the gate. I, tried all sorts of different things on. And there was a time in my life that I thought that I would never really have the respect that I deserved in my marriage that I had before. I didn't feel like I'd have the respect that I should in my friendships, in the type of friends that I had surrounded myself in. And even in my work, and it wasn't that the people that I worked with made me feel small, but it was what I was carrying about myself. My friendships reflected how I felt about myself. My marriage reflected, definitely, the choice of that marriage reflected how I felt about myself. And when I was going to ministerial school, I have a memory just recently, and I actually had it yesterday. Right during a Kundalini class. I just started taking Kundalini yoga classes, which is this deep breathing, and you're just kind of hyperventilating for like an hour and a half. And it's really powerful stuff, but it's unearthing some things that I thought were completely healed and gone, but it looks like they actually were kind of put into like a dormant state in me, and they're kind of being brought up to bubble up to kind of recognize that there's still more to observe about it. And the memory I had yesterday was of me being at school at Unity Village, and at the time I had about a 2 and a 4-year-old, and I was in intensive schooling out at Unity Village, and I called home to my husband at the time to ask to talk to the children, and he said, "Oh, Mommy's calling from Disneyland. She's having a really great time without you guys. She went without you." And my kids start crying while I'm intensively going to school at this time. I'm also working a full-time job, and I'm raising 2 babies. And it was so belittling and so beyond belief, but it was my life. That was my life at the time. And the kids are all crying, and I have to calm them down, and I'm not near them to be there, to hold them through this emotional process that we're all journeying through. And it left me so empty at school, and I had all my, classmates, and I ended up just, breaking down around them, and a real healing came out of that to recognize this is not working. This is not a life that I am willing to keep playing in, And I'm not saying that this person's a bad person, but something about me moving on into my power was affecting this person. And some of us have a hard time when people start to grab their wings and start flying. Have you ever noticed that? When you're starting to feel really proud of yourself and you're about to jump off a cliff and everybody's like, don't you do that. They hold your ankles. It's like, you don't do that, because if you do that, then I'm going to feel small. Right? And yet we got to be very particular about the people we surround ourselves with. When we're ready to fly, who are we going to share it with? Are we going to pick the people that are going to surround us, that are going to blow wind into those wings and say, yes, Syntysche, yes, go for it. You can handle all this because I got your back. We support each other. We blow that wind into each other. And when the friend is ready to go through that, then we're there to support them. And then we're all anchored in powerhousing into what it is we're here to do and be. I knew when I was at school, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I was already actually doing it here. I was just getting the education to really be even better at it. But that was a time-stop moment, and yet that completely disappeared from my mind. I not even thought about that. And I was sitting in Evan G. Fine Park yesterday in like this. And the whole visual of that phone call just came up, and it was like, wow, that is really lame that happened. You know, it's like, it's good that we can disappear it, but in a way, that stuff subtly still kind of sits in us. You know, that down talk, that affirming that I was not a child of God, that I was not made in the image of likeness. I was being shared with my children that I was a selfish person that would do something that I would never do, and I'm having to defend myself for someone else's insecurities. Does anybody have anybody in their life that you can relate with that? So there's way too many in this room, to be honest. And the truth is all I can say is either get counseling with this person, or if you're at the end where it's done, you got to leave. Because it's really hard to find your power when people are looking down their nose at you and saying that you're not what you know you are. Because you have to really look at your life from the view of how God sees you. Spirit sees you. Because when we like ourselves and we accept ourselves and we love ourselves, then we realize we're seeing ourselves the way God sees us, the way God loves us. And the truth is, we know those aren't separate. It's in us out. God loves us. I love myself. It's the very same thing. So how do we heal from dysfunctional relationships and overcome the blocks that are not making us feel powerful? That could be illness. That could be a job. That could be, last week I was talking about somebody in our congregation that had the bravery to leave a job that they've been at for a very, very long time, and it became too toxic, and the sermon a few weeks ago inspired her to jump and leave. And she shared that it was scary, but it was also extremely exciting to finally get out of the way of fear to say, I know I'm worthy of having something better in my life because I'm seeing myself as a Christ example. I am capable of doing these miracles and more. If that is the case, that I can no longer treat myself the way that I'm treating myself, or what we're saying to ourselves in our mind, and creating people or allowing people to treat us in a way that's less than holy, less than beautiful. This went forward a little bit. To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. So, why is it that we didn't get it just like this incredible young woman at 17 years old that's like, I'm going to change the world. And, everybody's going to join me and you're going to help me. Have you seen the photograph of her where she's sitting in Sweden, I believe, with the big sign by herself last year, fighting climate change, and it's just her. But it just happened to get into the newspapers around the world. And people saw this young girl that's ready to fight for climate change. Then she got a chance to speak to the UN about global warming and how the older people have let her and her friends and her sisters and her brothers on this path down, that we've not protected this planet for them. And look at what 1 year could do. One person. I mean, can you fathom that? That's how much we all want to unite with each other and make good in life, not just on the environmental level. I'm not really going to do an environmental talk today. I actually did one, and I'll let you know. It was on August 19th, this last month, and I actually started my sermon with a speech that she did. And so if you want to hear a unity talk on the environment, then you can pick that up in the office. But I already just did it, so I missed it right after this situation. So Eric Butterworth says it this way. When you know your own divinity, you know it is not for just a day, but for always. As a child of God, you are richly endowed with an all-sufficiency in all things. You know that God is your instant, constant, and abundant supply. When you seek first the kingdom, you meditate deeply on the truth of your oneness with God. You enter a higher dimension in thought, and you come to live with the license of a higher order of beings. This is really important. You enter a higher dimension in thought, and you come to live with the license of a higher order of not being, but beings. Your soul family, your co-creators, your ones that are going to go out and be giants and make a difference in whatever that purpose is. There is no concern for tomorrow only exists when it becomes today. And when it becomes today, it brings its own challenges and its own blessings. There's no concern for tomorrow only exists when it becomes today. And when it becomes today, it brings its own challenges and its own blessings. So I want to be talking about how do we become fully realized and fully expressed in this journey, right? So I was, this last week, I've just noticed that I just keep kind of hurting myself. I slammed my finger in a door, I took out my toe, I bit my cheek. It's just like strange little things like this. And I had a really good friend in town this last weekend, and he's observing these things happening, and he's an incredible Reiki healer, all sorts of different healing modalities. And he said, I can just see that you're just going 100 miles an hour. You got 3 appointments that you're trying to feel how you can be in 3 places at once, and it's just extremely overwhelming to observe all the ways you're trying to show up in life. But I feel so blessed in my life. My life is extremely abundant. My life is extremely full. I feel like my purpose is being expressed, and it's being needed in so many different areas. And yet, I've kind of left myself out of the scenario. And that's what he was pointing out. You're not taking care of you. The self-care piece is kind of missing here. You're just kind of running around trying to fix all these things, and you're not really taking care of you. And so I called him after I hurt my foot. He'd left already, and I said, so I just really busted my toes, and I can't walk, and at the moment, my husband is doing the parent-teacher meeting in the school while I'm inside my car. And I can't go because I can't walk. And I'm like, and Cheryl's holding my book group that's happening right now. And I have a woman I'm supposed to be calling and counseling over the phone. And I'm like, how did I have all these appointments right now? He's like, yeah, how did you? How were you planning on showing up to all 3 of those? I'm like sitting here going in the car just like, how did I have, like somehow I do pull it off, but it was like just the reality that I'm missing 3 things that are all happening right now. How could I have been in all those places at the same time? It's just a real like wake-up call. And I realized that there still is a part of me that sort of believes this like demeaning way that ex talked to me. The way he, like, I never could do anything right. I could never live up to his, so-called whatever. There was just parameters to everything, and I always came up short, and I was always shown that I did. And I notice when I'm not really feeling like going to dance class, I still make myself go, and I'm like, come on, Syntysche, you can pull it off, you can pull it off. I'm very, like, I'm a bully in my head with my scheduling. You can do this. Like, it's just, like, there really isn't a place for me to let myself off the hook. So obviously, how is the universe gonna get my attention? Just gonna cut you off. You are going to lay in your car with your foot on the dashboard, watching all the parents seeing you laying there looking like a mother that's not showing up for her kids once again. The law of attraction is now like doing this whole thing while I'm laying there in the car. Do you see how that synchronicity works? I'm showing to myself that I'm not a great mom. I'm not showing up because my foot is busted. I'm sitting in the car, and their stepdad is sitting in the school for the parent-teacher meeting, and their own father isn't, and I'm in the car. Let's just be with that. The universe. It really can kick your behind. You know what I mean? It's so honorable. It just pisses you off sometimes. So you got to laugh at it, people, because if you take it too seriously, you could just cry all the time, you know? But I know I have to slow down now, right? I'm able to walk today, so that's a miracle, because honestly, I really was hobbling around yesterday. I'm feeling so much better. In the flow of life, it says it this way: what is called divine guidance is a flow of infinite mind. It is universal in that it is a process of the presence of this mind, that your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask him. It makes no choice that is best in terms of your own consciousness. It is not a special act of God, but a specialization of the omniscience. Omni, which means all, and scientia, which means knowledge. So it's all knowledge. An omni-action of the presence of God. So it's all action. So it's putting behind your consciousness that which you want to create. So we have to be very careful what we're putting into our consciousness, and see how is the out picturing is showing you what you're putting in your consciousness. So all this isn't actually God. This is me not waking up to my highest consciousness. Divine guidance is a wisdom, a light, a supportive flow that enables you to see the road ahead with amazing clarity and to use your own wisdom at its highest level of development. Divine guidance can never lead you to take a step that is beyond your ability to understand or rightly use. Divine guidance can never lead you to take a step that is beyond your ability to understand or rightly use. But it's also not saying that you aren't supposed to be brave. So if you get the divine guidance, a lot of times you do, but you don't do it because you're not willing to try something new, or you're not willing to do something different than you've always done. Let's sit with that, because as we get older, we get more and more like robots. We do the same coffee shop, we eat at the same place, we do the same exact drive to work. We don't try different roads. We don't do new neural pathways to get the brain to open up, to connect more to the heart, so that we can be more open to that which is what that's being called. So what this is saying is, you're not going to be put somewhere where you're going to be abandoned, but you are going to get some divine guidance that's probably going to stretch you. And when you get that divine guidance that's going to stretch you, this is saying that you'll never be left alone, and the unfoldment will blow your mind. But again, this goes down to faith. It's testing ourselves. It's not testing God. A lot of times we'll test God because we don't feel like things are working out. No, it's testing ourselves. Are we willing to suck at something to try something new? That's a very important question to ask ourselves. Because when we try something new, we're not good at it right away. We are really in our old habits that we only do what we've already conquered, and we're at a 10, so we only do it because we excel at it. But little children constantly do new things, and then they scrape their knees, or they do this, and they try this, and then next thing you know, you got little gymnasts on your hands, or little dancers on your hands, or you have acrobats, or you have brilliant minds, because they stepped out of their comfort zones till they discovered their little beingness, and once we see it in them, we start to mold in them. Like, you are actually really good at that. Let's get some lessons and add on to that. But that's what Spirit's doing with us, too. It never ends. It doesn't stagnate because we're old. It stagnates because we feel like we're old, or we think like we're old. It's stinking thinking. It's not positive, powerful thinking, feeling, and being. All of the fear and the pain of the world can be conquered by our absolute devotion to trying something new. Thank you, Daniel. I saw that. I appreciate that. So deep down in your heart, many of you are here from different walks of life. None of us can know at what phase you're in, but you could be going through a loss of a family member. That could be, one not talking to you anymore because they're too stubborn to forgive and there's not a way to communicate, and you're walking around in that emptiness of not knowing how to fix a situation with a family member, or you've actually physically lost a family member by passing. You could be facing an illness that doctors are saying you can't overcome. You could be facing a divorce right now. You could be facing all sorts of issues. But the truth is when you live within the unity teachings, you can overcome any one of these obstacles. Yes, you will be sad that you've lost loved ones, but that doesn't mean that your good has left you. Yes, it will be scary when you're facing an illness and you have to really get in control of your consciousness around facing that illness and realizing that nobody is God to tell you that this is the end. You are the one that decides if you're going to go up into the higher consciousness to start rebuilding and telling this body about its power. It's all about your consciousness. It's about the fact that you have to be speaking to what it is you want healed. They say to affirm something 3 times out loud with conviction now rebuilds the subconscious mind, and that subconscious mind starts to tell you that you are that, and then you become that. What are some of the things you guys would like to overcome right now? Just start yelling it out. Fear. Fear of lack. Worry, exhaustion, negativity. I heard stalkers just right now. That's not a good one either. Let's overcome that one. You know which one it is, and it doesn't have to be something as horrible as losing a family member or an illness, or losing a marriage. Those are all incredibly awful things. And I've been through all of those things. I've lost a son, I've lost a marriage. I've been through a lot of loss in my life. And I think that's why I'm really needing this Kundalini Yoga, to find where I am not 100% healed in my spirit and why I'm still tough on myself. I'm not in this loving presence in the way that I speak to myself. I'm much more loving to everybody else than I am to myself. And I really had to look at that. Where did that come from? Because I can't blame anybody from the past for that. Somehow I still believe that I'm still not perfect. So I don't feel fully expressed then, if I'm still speaking to the limitation in myself, right? We have to find the thing that we love. We have to find the thing that's our passion. We have to find that thing that repeats itself over and over again for us to know what it is we are here to do and be, regardless of what's going on in this moment. Because once we find that fire, that passion, that love for something greater in our life, it will find the careers, we'll find the lovers, we'll find the healing, we'll find that the heartbreak subsides. And we'll find the light and the life that we were always put here to do and be. That's why these obstacles show up for us, as a catalyst to go inward and to remember who we truly are. The 2 most important days of your life: the day you were born and the day you learned why. How many people do know what they're here to do and be? How many of you are living it? I want to see more hands up, I have to be honest. So, the moment that my husband at that time said this belittling statement to my children, it put a fire underneath me. And it wasn't a coincidence that I wasn't there with people on the same path, going after the same schooling and living within this Christ consciousness that we're learning how to teach for others. Talk about a family to be with, to share the truth of what was going on in my home. I was still in denial and not, really, I just kind of let it roll off of me and choose to not let it affect me, but it was affecting me probably on a deep level. I just was storing it someplace. When you're in abusive relationships, it's very strange, but you'll leave the house and it completely leaves your mind, all of the negativity that happened while you were there in the day, and so it takes a long time to heal the cuts and the wounds that happen from those type of things. So that fire changed my life, though. And yes, there's still some residuals coming up, and it's good just to be able to look at it and go, man, am I blessed now. Man, am I in love with my husband. Boy, oh boy, has my life, the abundance. I have a home with land right outside of Lyons. I mean, my entire life, everywhere I look, it's like a freaking miracle. I could have never, ever seen for myself the life that I was supposed to have while I was in the tunnel vision of that darkness, day in and day out. I couldn't find my light because there was no light. I was living in someone's shadow body and trying to make that person happy every day. And it was just dimming my light. My light was being put out by water every minute. Till that fire reawoken, because I was surrounded in that love, in that unity, and in that kindness. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. And that was written by Marianne Williamson, who I think is still running for the presidency, isn't she? So, it's some interesting stuff we're talking about here. Our deepest fear is that we are giants, that we are powerful. Why is it that we dim our light in the presence of others so that they don't feel small? It's really a conditioning. I don't know that men do it as much as women do it. I mean, that might just be from my lens that I look from, but I don't see men like kowtowing down so that the other man feels powerful in the conversation to make it comfortable. I think women do that with each other because we're threatened by each other. There's this mistrust that's been it's been taught by our mothers and by their mothers, and there's just this like that we're in competition with each other and we're separate, and so we don't tend to share our power because we're worried that we're going to get gossiped about, that we're being an ego, or we're just too prideful, and so it's these kind of affirmations that keep us living small and living in our shadow and hiding the light that we're put here to do and be. This young woman that's changing this climate is showing her light. Maybe it's the Asperger's, like she's saying. Maybe it is her superpower because she doesn't seem to really care what other people think about how she does it. She's just going to damn do it, is what she's going to do. And she's not asking for any, apologies about it. But maybe we need to go through life a little bit more like not saying sorry for the light that's in us. Right? Showing up in our light. And if it makes people feel smaller, eventually they want to meet in that light. Light is extremely attractive to other people. And it is an important moment in your life when you discover for yourself the great truth that things may happen around you and things may happen to you, but the only things which really count are the things that happen in you. That's where the reflection comes from. It's not the to you, it's what's happening in you. What are you harboring? What are you holding? What are you saying? What are you feeding? What is your choice? Are you feeding the beauty or are you feeding the darkness? Are you talking and sharing with your spouses only the negative stuff that's happening at work, or are you sharing the positive things that are happening at work? Because you'll notice that the work will become a lot better if you're only sharing the positive. The more you say that, even if there was negative, you only share the positive, watch how that will change your experience at your job just by the lens that you changed and not sharing through your words and the feelings. You don't grab on the darkness, you grab onto the light. Or the fluctuation of the stock market, or the unpredictable behavior of people. However, you live in a world of your consciousness, which is the sum total of the thoughts of your mind. There's a great idea that you will encounter again and again on your quest. You are a living magnet constantly drawing to you the things, the people, and the circumstances which are in accord with your thoughts. In other words, you are where you are in experience, in relationship, even in financial conditions, because of what you are, which is where you are in consciousness. Sometimes your joy is the source of your smile, but sometimes your smile can be the source of your joy. So this is an interesting idea by Thich Nhat Hanh. They say that each time you smile, you throw a little feel-good party in your brain. The act of smiling activates neural messaging that benefits your health and happiness. So if you think about it, sometimes, like in Kundalini, they actually have you smile. And you might not want to feel like smiling. Like we're in a park and people are seeing us and we're all sitting there like this. You know, and it feels strange when you don't feel like smiling. But have you ever, just in your meditation, made your face just smile? You do feel something happen. You do feel the swirling of that ethereal realm moving in and through you. It does move that neural pathway, and it does start to move you towards joy. So there's an interesting thing, because we all want to fit in. And what you'll find is that smiling is a contagious thing. But a lot of things, we emulate things of others. And this is a funny example of that. I had to share that today just because I saw that this week and it just made me laugh so hard. So just like she just wants to keep up and be doing whatever they're all excited about. She's totally asleep. Smiling has that same effect. When you smile at someone, it actually is so much harder to keep your frowny, downy face in front of people. So I want you guys to turn and just start smiling at each other, and some of you can decide to not smile at each other, but it's a good chance to smile at each other and show those pearly whites and feel how that feels to smile at each other. When's the last time you really smiled at someone? It feels good, right? Did you know that your smile is actually contagious? This is a scientific truth. The part of your brain that is responsible for facial expression of smiling when happy or mimicking another's smile resides in the cingulate cortex, an unconscious automatic response area. I might have said that wrong. In a Swedish study, subjects were shown pictures of several emotions: joy, anger, fear, and surprise. When the picture of someone smiling was presented, the researchers asked the subjects to frown. Instead, they found that the facial expression went directly to imitation of what subjects saw. So if you really think about that, just the mere making ourselves smile, it's kind of like when we say the Wayne Dyer quote, you have to believe, you have to see it. You have to believe it to see it, where you have to see it to believe it, you have to believe it to see it. So you have to almost be the smile, like what would normally make you smile, and just smile, and all of a sudden your brain wants to look through the glass that's half full instead of half empty. And do you realize that you're doing that for another person as well? So I just want to take us into a meditation. Actually, let's just stand up and let's just shake our hands and let that come into our bodies. Kind of take, when we shake it out and just kind of bring into your mind what you've gotten out of the service today. What actually stood out to you that you could actually take with you? Would it be looking at affirming something 3 times and then putting it in the subconscious mind and creating that joy or creating that job or creating that marriage or creating that health? Is it about just smiling more? Is it about trying Kundalini so you can unearth dark things from the past? Hopefully not. All right. Now let's just hold our hands up like this. Take a big deep breath in. With ah. 2 more times. All right, guys, can be seated. So we're going to go into a meditation now, and I'm going to be singing a song that many of you know. And it's a Sanatam Kar song, and it's Ang Namo, Guru Dev Namo, and the beginning won't have that part in it. But what that means, it means to call on your highest consciousness to receive. Okay, so that's what this affirmation is. Ang Namo, Guru Dev Namo, but it's got a V that's silent. And Guru means teacher, obviously, one who brings us from darkness to light. Oh, my beloved, kindness of the heart, breath of life, I bow to you, divine teacher, beloved friend, I bow to you again and again. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Now you guys can sing it with me. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Again. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Now I'm going to just let you guys sing it. Let me hear you singing it. Beautiful. And I want to hear more of you singing it now. Let your spirits come together. One more time. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Now I have new words for you. Breath of life. Breath of life, I bow to you. Breath of life, I bow to you. This is your way. This is your way. This is your way. I bow to you. And I can sing that with me. This is your way. This is your way. This is your way. This is your way. I bow to you. So it is. Amen.
All right, thank you, Syntysche, for that very deep and powerful message and experience, all packaged together. Yeah, applaud that. We are going to take an offering for Unity now, but I did want to give you a heads up. I'm going to be covering for Syntysche next Sunday, so I will be covering the second service next Sunday, and we'll be starting a series on the concept of, are we living in a simulation? So if you're some of those people that absolutely hate to hear me speak, that's to give you a heads up that you might want to find something else to do next Sunday. Actually, go to Jack and Norma's service. Don't miss the experience, but go to that service. And everyone else who doesn't mind listening to me speak, I'd love to have you there. All right. I'm just calling like it is. Who's that lady? Is that my mother? That's the unbiased family opinion. Oh, I'm sorry I got you guys up here. I do need to dispel a myth. I did hear murmuring throughout the church. I was not kicked to Saturday. I was not kicked out of Sunday to Saturday. It was a choice. It was something I wanted to do. It was a ministry team talked about it. It was a venture we wanted to do. And me and Syntysche actually talked about which one should do it. We decided that I would go and I would pilot the Saturday service. So that's how it came about. It wasn't sort of like some internal struggle and Syntysche stood her ground and won the battle for Sunday and I went crawling to Saturday. So just wanted to clear that up. All right, so here are the various ways you can give. You can give digitally in many ways, as well as physical in the baskets we're going to pass today. So any way you give, and if you're online watching us, we invite you to join us in this experience right now to give online through any of these avenues. That would be great to be a part of this experience. All right, so let's take our offerings into our hands, and we're going to bless them with this offering statement. I invite you to say it with me now. It's up on the screen. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive because I give. Thank you.
You're welcome to sing along with us if you know this song. What would I do if I knew that I could not fail? If I believed with the wind always fill up my sail, how far would I go? What could I achieve? Trusting the hero in me. If I were brave, I'd walk the
we secretly dream. What would you ask if you knew you could have anything? Like the mighty oak sleeps in the heart